Welcome to SDH's coverage of the USLW National Semifinals. We'll take you through the quarterfinals and get you ready for the Final Four. And we will have interviews from the right-hand side of your bracket with two teams that are rivals in a USL League One, coming off of an amazing 5-5 match last time out on the men's side. Now it'll be the women's side in the national semifinal between Greenville Liberty and the Tormenta women. On the left-hand side, it is going to be Minnesota Aurora, the only unbeaten team to date in the USLW League, going up against McLean Soccer. That one is going to be at 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, July 17. Greenville Liberty, South Georgia Tormenta. That one is set for 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Let's get you ready for the semifinal by reminding you about the quarterfinals. Let's start on the left-hand side of the bracket. And it was Minnesota Aurora and Indy 11 going at it at TCO Stadium on the campus of the University of Minnesota. Here's your highlights, courtesy of the Aurora their own selves and USLW.
Maddie Williams stopped by Sarah Fuller. What a save by Fuller. Woo! Wow. Don't see that very often.
You do not.
Strom. She's looking for Chatterton. Now inside the 18. A shot and a goal. That one scored by
Ella Rogers, I believe. We heard about Ella Rogers from Coach Polly Dolinsky, and he described her as kind of the unsung hero, so maybe not so unsung today.
Now it's Bielich with a shot. That one deflected right into the arms of Wood. To Inakawa with a shot. Oh, punched away by Wood. Wrap. Now Morgan Turner. Turner with the shot. A goal! Turner ties it up. A great big play there for Minnesota. The season. Native of Japan. And that one is good. She tippy-toes to the ball. That was an interesting effect there, but obviously a big goal for Minnesota. They take a 2-1 lead off of the penalty kick here in the 68th minute. Turner, nice big punt. Huge save by Wood.
Sold-out crowd of 6,200 in attendance for the Aurora in their win over Indy 11. And they are going to be going up against one of the formidable offenses in USLW. McLean Soccer went to Morris Elite and put 8 on the board. Here's your highlights. There's a lot of them, courtesy of our friends at Morris Sussex Sports.
Header down, claimed by Manning, goes back to Garcia. That pass behind again, though. Here comes Turner. Turner decides to take a rip. The shot, and she scores! Eliza Turner with a rocket from the edge to the 18. And in the 15th minute, it's 1-0 McLean. Plays it inside. Kaloya leaves it for Lees. Lees fakes a shot, sends another one, and it scores! Julia Lees on a 1-2 with Kaloya. And it's the unusual suspects who are putting on the offensive display. 2-0 McLean inside of 16 minutes. Taken away and kept by McLean. Turner now. Turner sends a nice ball across. A chance for McLean to make it 3. Cutting back. The shot and scoring! Jordan Felton with a nice turn and finish. Hits the inside net. Hits the side netting. And McLean dominating this contest. It's 3-0 in 23 minutes. Gambone. Nice move by Gambone to get through. Gambone to the end line, sends it across to the back post and scores! Erica Harwood, number 26 with the goal. Came on the back post run, and 29 minutes in, it is 4-0 McLean. Though, McLean's still on the ball. Kaloya with a shot, and she scores! Angela Kaloya makes it 5-0 before halftime. Here they come again, Gambone. Lays it inside, the shot, and a goal! And it's the number 9 of Kaloya from Gambone It's a brace for the number 9, and it is 6-0 McLean. Inside edge of the 18, McBride with a shot, and it's in! Number 22, Kendall McBride, makes it 7 for McLean in the 67th minute. That's a great ball forward. Looking for Meeks. Meeks takes a long-range effort, and she scores! Lauren Meeks from long range of a great feed. Chase, nothing she could do about that one from about 20 yards out. 8-0 McLean.
Now to the right-hand side of the bracket, Greenville Liberty and South Georgia Tormenta. Here is your highlights from the Greenville Liberty match against the Long Island Rough Riders, courtesy of our friends at 11 Sports and the Liberty.
Here comes Caitlin Riley pushing it out to right. Riley with the shot on inside the corner, and it's in! What a goal from Caitlin Riley! Outside the 18! Greenville Liberty go up 1-0 in the USLW quarterfinal.
37th minute, and Caitlin Riley plays hero ball, ladies and gentlemen. Everything you could ask for in that moment, and I'm talking off of the feet of Autumn Kaeli, draws the defender in, and I was just about to say, you find yourself in a spot where you've got 3 defenders coming to you in the box. It's a tough way to fight. The advantage is, like any other sport, if you're double team, what's it mean? Somebody else is open. Kaeli composed herself. She didn't panic. She didn't just let one rip for the sake of getting rid of the ball. Instead, she found where the open player was. She got it to Riley. Took some work from Riley because that ball had to be pinhole precise to get there. And it was 1-0 Greenville Liberty, and Fortress Legacy stands.
Greenville has been pushing and
are starting. Some colleges allowing their players to come back and continue and finish out the W League. Other colleges will not give permission. So across the entire W League team, a lot of fans are going to see some interesting names they have not seen before. A shot for the backside, and it's in! My goodness! Golazzo! What a strike in the 68th minute from the entire far side of the box. Ladies and gentlemen, the perfect weight, the perfect touch, and it's 2-0 to the Liberty.
what did you talk about Julie Mackett? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. She comes out hungry, she wants the ball, and eventually she's going to get it and puts that goal in. Just like that, Liberty doubles their lead with about 20 minutes left. What a strike from Julie Mackett.
My goodness. You know, we've had a couple of those throughout this season so far, Easton, where we've said that young lady looks like she's due. That young lady's been a playmaker. It's her time. Julie Mackett, tonight was her night where there was no doubt it felt like she was owed something with the play she had. Ladies and gentlemen, you can take that one to the bank and cash it. The Liberty have.
And after the match, we caught up with the head coach of Greenville Liberty, Julie Carlson, to get her thoughts on the season so far and what it's meant to be a part of something from the ground up as you're playing in a national semifinal. So has it sunk in that you're actually in a national semifinal?
Yes.
When did that moment actually happen? Did you give yourself time to celebrate after the round of 8, or when did it finally sink in that, wow, we are in a national semifinal in our first year of existence?
I don't know. I think it was bittersweet. You know, I think the moment really was, even my husband got a little emotional after the game. So I think it was just a whole moment just to see, it was kind of surreal, really. I think it just sunk in. I mean, we have this tradition that we, as a staff, we bring out LaCroix drinks, and, you know, my assistant coach handed me one, and he turned around and started talking to the group, and I just shook it up and opened it and sprayed it all over him. And I think it was at that moment I just realized, like, yeah, this is just so awesome. And we just advanced, and, you know, I have thanked everyone for everyone's work within the club, the team's work behind the scenes, and the players' work on the field, because it takes a village to get here. You know, I'm just a face on the front of the screen, and I think I just have such a great group of people that really have made all of this happen. So I think sometimes it sinks in when you can sleep good at night. And then when you wake up in the morning and you're like, did that really just happen? And then I had that aha moment the next morning with a cup of coffee, and it was like, okay, back to business. So,
are you a person, or is the team a club of rituals where it has to be a specific LaCroix flavor that is handed to you, or is it just the fact that it is that particular brand of drink? Are we that specific where it's a certain flavor, or is it just that brand?
It's primarily the brand. We have tendency has been, I think my assistant coach's favorite flavor is the pamplemousse, and I like the lime and the tangerine, but we've tended to be more on the lime and the pamplemousse more so.
When it comes to building something from the ground up, how much of a challenge has it been, and how satisfying has it been to get to this point?
Well, the challenge was, what would the level of talent look like when it all came together, once you put all the building blocks and the foundation of player personnel together? What does that actually look like? And, when we started getting most of the players together after kids that were already here and then kids that were leaving college to come home for the summer, and they started all training together, and you could see something just kind of click. You could see some chemistry. You could see players who made new friends, players who had old friends from high school and club teammates. You could see really good older leadership, senior leadership, just really embrace younger players, and just, there was no arrogance. There was a purity to it. And you step back and you start watching them train, and you're like, you know what, this team's pretty good. And then when they started playing games and they just took off out of the blocks, and, the hunger and the greediness behind scoring goals in a unselfish way, really made you just kind of sit and ask yourself, like, you know what, there is something special here. How far can this group actually really go? And now we're seeing fruits of the labor behind putting all of the behind the scenes work together, making the phone calls, what the staff has helped pull together with their resources, what I pull together with my resources. And now we see the fruits of the labor and the outcome of all of that. And, nobody waved any sort of special wand. It just, I think it's just become a very special group of young women who really enjoy being around each other, and have made some really good moments and some memories together, which I think what sports and athletics is all about.
For those that haven't had the chance to see your club play this year, who are some of those stalwarts and standouts that have gotten you to this point of the season?
Early on, our standouts were Carly Thatcher, who currently is at Auburn, Caroline Conti, who's at Clemson, Megan Bornkamp, who's also at Clemson. We've had some Furman players really come in and step up to the plate. Cameron Bolick, who's kind of a behind-the-scenes player. And then one of the big things I think has really started is that some of our older players who are anywhere from the ages of, 24 to 32, dusted off some cobwebs, already had a good fitness base, and came in and their game just exploded. From Caitlin Riley, who played at Furman, Haley Schubert, who played at Clemson, Julie Mackin, who played at Clemson, Sarah Jacobs, who's the head coach at Anderson University, who also played at Clemson. And then we've had some younger players come through from the Carolina Elite Soccer Academy program who have huge college careers ahead of them. And, the DeBem DK, he'll be playing at Wake Forest. Bailey Manfredi, he'll be playing at UNC Charlotte this fall. We've got Caitlin Kellogg, who we pulled in 2 Gardner-Webb players. Caitlin Kellogg was their starting goalkeeper at Gardner-Webb. She'll play a 5th year at Coastal Carolina. And so she's used this platform as a preparation to train. to get herself ready for Coastal. And then Maddie Turlington was the Big South Offensive Player of the Year. And so she's come in, and this level of talent has raised their level and made them, I think, overall better soccer players. And these are just players who've influenced behind the scenes. They've influenced the game within the game that may not have the stats to show for it. And then we've got some babies, as I call them, 16, 17-year-olds, one's recently just been added to the roster, Autumn Kayeli, who's got a verbal commitment to South Carolina, who's local, coming off of a fabulous high school career, but's got another year. And, she brings a lot of energy. And then Christian Brathwaite, who I had a good relationship with her father, she's got a verbal commitment to the University of Georgia. She's a rising senior, and she's out of Charlotte. And so so a lot of this came from pre-existing relationships. But, there's really, I've listed off a lot of names, and there's many more along that list. We've got a good Furman University depth chart from their squad with Riley Parsons and Cameron Whitaker. And then, some faces that have started to play more minutes. Reagan Burns is a local athlete who, plays up at UNC Charlotte. And some of these kids are coming from their college programs. Some of them played a lot. They're core players out of their college programs, like the Clemson players. But some of these other college players were coming off the bench. And here they've become starters and have been very implemental athletes into our program, and I think have built a lot of confidence along the way. And so I think they're names that we're going to continue to see on the roster down the road for the next summers to come. And so, I don't pinpoint one player. We definitely have some players of influence, such as Caroline Conti and Carly Thatcher and Christian Brathwaite and Megan Bornkamp. But there's definitely a solid foundation of players who know their role, do their role, execute their role, and have done an exquisite job of just keeping the game simple.
And at the same time, when you mention all of those players, I think one of the keys here is you mention Wake, you mention Webb, you mention Clemson, you mention Auburn, you've mentioned Furman. A lot of that footprint right there in the Carolinas is staying at home, and I think that it signifies the growth of the sport in the Carolinas, that you're able to assemble a roster like what you have, and it's local.
Yes, sir. Oh, definitely. And I think we've been able to put this local talent on stage together as one component. We've done it well in this first season. And, I think local people, they see the news, they'll see a star at this high school or a star at that high school and a good player here and a good player there. And what we've tried to do is collaborate all of that. And then obviously get maybe some more, some other specialty players, maybe that aren't in this particular area right here in the upstate, but can come in from Charlotte or come in from some of these major or mid-major college programs that we can provide housing for, things that we're allowed to do by the NCAA, and give them the resources that they need to enjoy their summer and continue to train for their college programs, but really put on stage for our local youth, for our local community, to be able to see the talent that's actually here in their area, that's gone off to play in college, that they hear about, but they've never actually seen, because they're probably not traveling to Wake to watch them play, or even traveling to Clemson to watch them play because they have busy schedules. But now they actually get to see them play. And it's like I said in an interview a while back, it's kind of like shopping for a dress or shopping for a pair of shoes. You're getting, the opportunity to go and see soccer where you can actually touch and feel it. You can see these players up close. And a lot of these younger girls that aspire to play at this level don't get to see that on a regular basis. And that's what we've been hoping to do for them.
And now it's rivalry in the right-hand side of the bracket, because on the USL League One side, the recency of one of the wildest games in the history of the rivalry between Tormenta and Triumph, and also in USL League One comes across the board in a 5-5 10-goal absolute 90 minutes worth of crazy. And now the rivalry gets to continue a little bit with Liberty and Tormenta on the women's side. Is there any truth to the rumor that you two sides are going to try to match what happened in the midweek at Irk Russell?
Well, that'd be the first time I've heard this rumor. It's not my intention to concede 5 goals, but it's definitely my intention to score 5 goals.
When it comes to your play stylistically, for someone who hasn't seen the Liberty play this year, what are they going to see stylistically out there?
They're going to see a execution of a game plan of tactics to obviously eliminate the opponent's ability to be a threat. And sometimes it won't always look pretty, but it's to be effective. And, the other side of that is to be an extremely effective team offensively, to really back them into a corner, to press them, and to do it sophisticatedly to hopefully create opportunities out of. We've been a really good team executing opportunities. We just have to eliminate the ability for them to do the things that they've been successful doing, and try to counteract that.
So I don't know how much tape you've seen since your last win getting ready for Tormenta, but in Tormenta, with what you've seen and what you know, what are you anticipating from them?
They'll be a good soccer team. They've got some specialty players in Amy Andrews and the young lady, I don't recall her name, that's there from University of Pacific, that have had some freedom to kind of control their own areas and utilize their own personality and the fluidity of their offense. They've got a girl that plays out wide from Campbell, that's, quite fast, really good at getting in line and pulling crosses across the face of the goal to be a threat. Their back line's very organized. They do play deep, but they've done a good job of breaking presses, which we saw against, or at least we've seen it against Miami City, that they'll do a good job of possessing out and breaking the press. And then, their goalkeeping is good. Sydney Martinez, playing down at South Florida. I mean, she's a good goalkeeper. She's got great size. Watching some of her, seeing her as a youth player, her game has definitely, she's gotten a lot better at her craft and fine tune a lot of her skill sets, abilities in goal. Obviously, good range of distribution, and so, I think what we're all going to see is 2 good soccer teams. You're going to see Furman alumni against Furman alumni, current Furman against current Furman. So you'll see a little bit of that. And so, but they're a good soccer team. They'll move the ball, they'll possess the ball. And so we just have to be able to make sure we kind of isolate some of those tendencies that they have.
Now to the team that is making the trip to Legacy Early Park. It is South Georgia Tormenta, where the Liberty started off strong, went 2-2-1 in their last 5. Tormenta was the opposite, had a bit of a shaky start, finished their season at 4-0-1. Here is your look at the lone goal and the end of the match, because all you need sometimes is one goal to make a difference. Amy Andrews gets the goal in Miami. South Georgia Tormenta gets the Duke at FC Miami City to advance to the national semifinals. Here's your highlights once again, courtesy of our friends at 11 Sports and FC Miami City.
That's a testament to the opponents against her. She's trying to link up play now with her distribution. One-touch passing, finds it outside to Nepstov, and in front for Andrews. She breaks the game open and finds her first of the postseason. The league-leading scorer has another asking of it. 1-0, Tormenta.
Clinical one-touch passing there, and Nepstov with the dagger All Andrews had to do was tap it in, and tap it in she did. Tormenta 1, Miami 0.
The Battle of the Birds at Tropical Park. So the Pelicans, I guess, are up on the goals. FC Miami City down 1-0. Can they have a response after that 62nd minute tally?
Yes, in goal.
And the final whistle sounds. South Georgia Tormenta FC takes a 1-0 victory over FC Miami City. They're through to the semifinals of the USLW League playoffs.
Final score, FC Miami City 0, Tormenta 1.
Well, ultimately, action to the end there. Two fantastic sides. And when we interviewed Miami City head coach John Colino before this game, he said it will either be 5-4 or 1-0. Ultimately, a 1-0 type of game. Ultimately.
Now let's catch up with our friends from South Georgia Tormenta. First and foremost, let's catch up with the head coach of Tormenta, Jim Robbins, and what he has thought about the matchup against Miami City and what it's like getting ready for a national semifinal in year one of your franchise.
Well, for me, I thought we played a pretty good game from front to back. It started off, I think, both teams trying to feel each other out a little bit. We had some possession, they had some possession, but right around that 18, 20-minute mark, I think things just clicked for us and we settled in and we played very, very well up until 87 minute. They changed systems. They're trying to go get the goal that they need, but they dominated possession, a lot of fluidity among the team, created a ton of great chances, hit a bar. We're in 40-some seconds. We shoot it at the keeper. Just a lot of good stuff all the way around. Pretty comprehensive. I did a little stat check afterwards. We gave them 6 total chances in 90 minutes. If we do those kind of things on Sunday, we're going to win this game.
What's it been like? I know that we talked before the season started, but what has it been like for you to be a part of this, building this from the ground up and being where you are right now in the national semifinal?
I think and I thought about that because I knew you're going to ask that. I knew you're going to. But it's one of those things like we talked about before, starting from zero, you just don't know. But as the roster was coming together and as kids were giving their commitment and saying yes, and then you start to think about it and you're like, wow, this is a pretty deep team. This team has no holes, and the roster was built for that. It was built for these moments. So there was a little bit of me that said, yeah, we can do it. And then obviously there's a part of you, and we started off a little slow and got some ties that should have been wins. And so you're like, I don't know, are we there? But, these last 5 or 6 games, the kids have really put it together. Things have started to click. We've had some focused training sessions on things that we felt were important, wide service, putting balls in dangerous areas. They've responded very, very well. A ton of goals have gone in. So, yeah, we're sitting here now looking at sort of this Final Four going, we can be in a championship game. Let's just go play the 90, do what we're supposed to do, and we'll see somebody in the final.
Next up, the Golden Boot winner for USLW, Amy Andrews. She has now scored with the goal that she scored against FC Miami City. Game winner in the quarterfinals. She's now scored in 7 straight matches for South Georgia Tormenta. Here's her thoughts on the season so far.
When this opportunity was presented to you, what attracted you to it to come all the way to Statesboro, Georgia to start something?
I think honestly it was just the phone call with Jim. I had questions that I wrote down, I had ready to ask him, and he answered them in the best way possible. And it was scary coming into a club in a new league, which is a new club. It's kind of hard. It's a big risk to take. You don't know what it's going to be like. And then you've got these other teams that did well in the WPSL and things like that you could jump into. But no, I don't know what it was. I just had a really good feeling about this when I spoke to Jim, and I did my research as well on Jim and the club Tormenta, and I just liked what it was all about. So that's what kind of drawn me to it, and I'm very happy I took that decision.
And, Golden Boot and all these kinds of things that have happened to you this year, when you look at what this team has accomplished, I know it's hard to do something. Literally, you're jumping into the deep end, and now you're in a national semifinal. Has it sunk in, everything that you've been able to accomplish this year as a club?
Honestly, it hasn't. I don't think it's hit me yet. I knew I would come in and do my job that Jim asked of me. I didn't know really about the girls. I had no idea. And then when we were all here as a team, the first practice session, it was just seeing how talented every player was insane. And obviously we've come up to this point now, and it still hasn't hit me. I think it's starting to hit me now. We're in the semi-finals. The quarterfinals, for some reason, it just felt like an ordinary game, which is hard to understand. But yeah, now we're in the semis, it seems huge. And obviously being the Golden Boot winner doesn't hit me. I think I expect that of myself, and I had those goals coming in. And I'm not sounding cocky. I'm not shocked because I know what I'm capable of. So to do it, it's a massive achievement. But I'm not done yet. So no, nothing sank in yet because we're not done.
Next up for South Georgia Tormenta, it is time to spend a little time at center back. Genesis Jenna Ellerby, the pride of Young Harris College, a D2 powerhouse in the NCAA. With her time with the Bearcats, she's played and started 17 matches, over 1,500 minutes at her most productive season back in 2021 with the Bearcats. 13 matches, just under 1,200 minutes, 3 goals for the Bearcats, and helped the Bearcats get 4 clean sheets up at Young Harris in 2021. Time to catch up with Genesis Ellerby and what she has thought about being down in Statesboro this season.
What attracted you to Tormenta in the first place?
Just like Amy said, the phone call with Jim. I mean, when I was thinking about going into a team this summer, my first thought was I want to improve as a player, as a person. And on that phone call with Jim, I remember he didn't promise me anything. He didn't promise me a starting spot. He wasn't like, oh, I'm going to make you the best player in the world. But what he did was let me know that this summer I will grow and I'll learn as a player. And not a lot of coaches told me that. A lot of coaches were like, oh, I want to win. I want to win. So I'm going to take up whoever I want. But Jim, he specifically picked these players because he knew what they were capable of. And I mean, I was ready to come in here and just try my best to win a championship for Jim because I knew that that's what he expected from all of us coming in, you know.
National semifinal, and it is 2 USL League One. I mean, this is USL rivalry going at it. Is there any truth to the rumor that the game with the Liberty on the weekend is going to match what happened when the Triumph and Tormenta played in the midweek? Is it going to be a 10-goal thriller? But I mean, seriously, what's it like to have this USL rivalry carry itself over in more than just one place? What's it like with Liberty and Tormenta, speaking about what it means a lot to this part of the country, chasing after in the semifinal with the rivalry that's attached?
I mean, I think it's insane. If you would have saw us on the bus, we were going absolutely nuts knowing that the boys were able to play that well and come back after being down 5-0. That's insane to me. So I think that this is real. It's real and it's going to happen. I think it's going to be a competitive game and we're all out there to play and we're all out there to win. So I think we're going to take that rivalry to heart. You know, a lot of us aren't even from Statesboro. So, you know, for us, it's like, people may think for us is nothing, but we're taking that to heart. You know, we're going to go down there and we're going to play the best that we can. And just like the boys did, we're going to play into the last minute, until that whistle blows. We're going to be playing. So we're taking it to heart.
So that's your breakdown of the USW League semifinals. Sunday, once again, reminder, Minnesota Aurora hosting McLean Soccer. That one is at 4 o'clock Eastern Time at TCO Stadium. Winner of that one advances to the final to take on the winner of Greenville Liberty and South Georgia Tormenta. That one is at 7 o'clock, Legacy early in Greenville, the home of the Triumph, home of the Liberty, and a road match for South Georgia Tormenta here in the national semifinals. Check them out on 11 Sports and through all of your local providers and social media as well. Looking forward to seeing who makes it through the Final Four to get to the championship of the inaugural season in USLW. That's your coverage from here. Those of us here at Soccer Down Here played safe, everybody. Enjoy the games.